Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and today I wanted to talk a little bit about first my probably most prolific grower in my collection and also one of my favorite plants that I own. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about a new plant that I have in my collection as well. So if you are interested in plants and interested in learning together how to care for them, stick around and let's talk favorite plants. Okay, so one of my very favorite plants that I own is this Monstera Peru. And a few months ago, I was actually gifted this plant by my boyfriend. It was not on my radar. I didn't even know it existed. And when I got it home, I had no idea how to care for it. I had no idea what it was. So I started doing some research on the internet. And honestly, I didn't come up with much. I think part of that was due to the fact that it is known by many different names. When Costa Farms started producing this plant a few years back, they gave it the name Green Galaxy. So if you are searching on the internet for care tips or just videos on growth, you might look up Green Galaxy because I know there's a lot out there with that name. But I also just think that it is not a super popular plant. And not that it's rare or expensive, but I just think that it's not talked about a lot. So I wanted to make this video so that if you did have questions or were really kind of wanting to get to know the Monstera Peru, there was something out there for you. So the Monstera Peru is a tropical houseplant. It grows in South America, hence the name. It does grow in Peru. And so with that, it is similar to the rest of the tropical houseplants that we own in terms of care. I love this guy because it has these huge, dark, super textured leaves. And I just think it's so beautiful. So let's talk water first. The fact that it's a tropical houseplant, the Monstera Peru does not like to dry out all the way. So when it comes around to the time I think it should be watered, I just stick my finger down in the soil a couple of inches. If it is dry, I will go ahead and give it a really thorough bottom water. It'll also tell you in other ways that it does need a little drink. The other day I was looking at it and the leaves were starting to kind of droop and like fold under like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with it? And then I remembered it had been a minute since I watered it. So I gave it a really good drink. I do have it in this pretty terracotta pot, but then inside of that is a nursery pot. So I just pop that out, put it in the sink, give it a really good drink, let the water flow down through those holes in the bottom, and then after that it perked right back up and it was good to go. So if you are an underwater like me, this might be good for you because it really makes it obvious when it needs water. The next thing I want to talk about is light. This does sit right next to a window and gets really good morning light. And then I do also have a grow light in that area as well that I'll pop on if I'm feeling like the little grouping of plants isn't getting enough light. So a lot of light, but not bright, direct light, because it is a trailing or a growing plant that is tropical. It in the wild has some cover from like the big trees above it. So it doesn't want bright, direct light. So if you're thinking about putting this outside, if you live somewhere that you can do that, you might get some burning of the leaves. So maybe consider a different plant for that. But I've not noticed it's super picky to light, and it puts out leaves like crazy, even during my kind of lazier times where I'm not putting that grow light on it as often. So pretty easy going in terms of light, bright and direct light, just like all of the rest of our plants really like, and it should be good to go. The next next thing is humidity. I do have a humidifier next to this plant, but I did not always. I have gotten 6 new leaves since I got this in end of summer, beginning of fall. And for a couple months, I did not have a humidifier on it. And I live in Wyoming where we get no humidity, and it was still just popping out leaves like crazy. I do have a humidifier in that area now, and I haven't noticed that it's growing any more or any faster because it has always done so well. So obviously, because it's tropical, it wants good humidity, but I didn't see any negative effects from not having that extra outside of your natural house humidity. The last thing that I really want to talk about with this plant, and it's not something that you think about with all of your plants maybe, is the actual cleaning of the leaves. Because these leaves are so huge and so textured, this thing gets dusty. So after a week or so, if I have not cleaned it, the dust just starts sitting on the leaves, and it's very obvious. You can see it as soon as the sun hits it. If you do not clean your leaves and you leave that layer of dust on it, the leaf itself is not able to photosynthesize the light that's coming in because it kind of has that block. So you want to make sure that you are cleaning these leaves as often as you can. I do try and clean it every time I water it. Sometimes I will spray the leaves down in the shower. Sometimes I'll just get my leaf cleaner and like wipe it with a microfiber towel. And I think that that does make a big difference. For one, in terms of what it looks like, it doesn't look dusty, crusty, musty, but also in terms of the growth and how it's been photosynthesizing the light. With that being said, the same thing applies to your windows. So if your windows are really grimy, really dusty, really dirty, you might consider doing a good window cleaning because you don't want anything blocking the light that's getting to these plants that want it and that love it. So not what you want to hear, but it might be time for a good window cleaning. So if you are a new houseplant owner, I would suggest the Monstera Peru. Like I said, it's been a prolific grower. Basically, the top, all of this is new, and you can see here this new leaf that is starting to unfurl here, right there. And then the last leaf that I had gotten is on the other side, and it is already starting to put out new growth as well. And since I received this plant, I have noticed that a leaf grows in and then a new leaf starts growing. So there is 2 separate vines on this plant, and it does stay pretty full. Right when I got it, I had put it onto this cocoa core pole because I wanted it growing up and not trailing with these huge, beautiful leaves. I don't know that this is my permanent solution for this. I haven't decided if I want to do a moss pole. I think that it would end up being like a tree and be so huge, or if I want to trellis it. If you have a Monstera Peru and you have it growing on something that's worked really well and looks really pretty, let me know, because I'm not super committed to the cocoa core. I will not do anything with it, I don't think, until the spring. I'm just gonna let it keep doing its thing, putting out its new growth. But if you're a new houseplant owner and you want something with like wow factor, that like big punch, this is the one. It is so easy and so awesome, and I've never lost a leaf, and I've never had yellowing, and I've never had a bug on it. And it tells me exactly what it wants. So keep that in mind. Some other beginner houseplants that I would say are a great idea are, changing gears here, cacti and succulents are awesome. We just got, my son, my teenage son, wanted a large cactus, and we were looking at prices of large cactuses, and these are hundreds to thousands of dollars. Those huge cacti that you see in people's homes, or, you know, if you're in Arizona or whatever. And so we decided for Christmas, We'll get him a little one, take good care of it, and then by the time he moves out, he's gonna have a huge cacti. Like, that's the plan, right? So I did want to show you this because I thought it was so neat. This is called a blue columnar cacti. And I think it's so pretty. That blue is so awesome. I have watered it a couple of times. The idea is once it's fully dry, then you can water it. And so I watered it right when I got it before Christmas, and then I did wait. It ended up being 12 days. I have this under a grow light. It wants a lot of light and heat. I mean, it is a cactus, but really easy. Cactus, succulents are great starter house plants. I would also recommend snake plants. I am doing a video on propagation, and I have even a snake plant propagation that is growing really nicely. I know, those are kind of hit or miss, but my snake plant is so easy. I mean, it sits in the basement and I water it once a month, once every other month, and that thing just grows like crazy. So that one, as well as the ZZ plant. I've got a Raven ZZ back here. And I also have a regular ZZ that I water once a month. This one gets good light because it's a plant and they like it. But other than that, so easy, so beautiful. And those are just a super easy care. You set them there and you forget about them, give them some light, water them every once in a while. But if you are a new houseplant owner that wants to be like an active participant in your houseplant growth, I would really recommend pothos. I have so many pothos, and every single one of them just grows like crazy. You do need to kind of keep an eye on them, water them when they need watered, but they'll really tell you what they need as well. Philodendrons, like I have a philodendron micans that is just like always putting out new leaves, multiple new leaves. And it's just so satisfying. You get to, prune it and propagate it and water it once a week and just be really hands-on. So depending on the type of plant parent you want to be, those are some good recommendations on starter plants. If you have other suggestions for new plant owners, leave them in the comments. And if you have any questions or if you want to see any of those cool plants, make sure you subscribe because we are just going to keep talking plants. And I would love to see you on Instagram as well and see all of your beautiful pictures. So on Instagram, I am Botanics with Brittany. Give me a follow. I would love to follow back, chat plants, and see all of your big, beautiful plants as well. Next video I'm doing is going to be, like I said, talking about propagations. So if you have any questions or anything that you want me to add to that, please leave that below. And then I will see you during that next video. Thanks.